I'm going to preface this video by saying I could be completely wrong, and I'm very much willing to be wrong so long as I'm still enjoying the story. As always, these are just my interpretations of the events in the game. I'm not telling you how to think or feel. I'm just one woman out of many people who play this game. So, with that being said, let's get into it. I've been analysing Love and Deepspace's world building, and I need to talk about something that's been at the back of my mind when playing the game. It's about EVER and Astra. So for me, EVER and Astra represent two ideological extremes, prototists and purists. So here's a basic divide. Prototists support developing technology with protocols. So they want to improve everyday life, support hunters with fighting wanderers, explore the deep space tunnel and space more, and ultimately see if protocols can not only enhance human life, but prolong it. Basically using protocols to advance not only human knowledge, but human biology. Now, purists think that protocols are too dangerous and unpredictable, and humanity should stick to Earth's natural energy resources. At the very least, until we know protocols are 100% safe. But it's still early days, and purists would rather stick to what we know than explore the unknown and potentially have a Chrono Rift Catastrophe 2.0. Now, I've read enough sci-fi stories to know what we're dealing with here. Let me pose these questions to you. What lengths would you go to in order to live forever? What would you give up? Would you give up the very things that make you human just so you could live forever in some way, shape, or form? And in fact, what is it that makes you human? I believe that the story of Love and Deepspace is all about free will. Both EVER and Astra are attempting to control humans in some way by harnessing the fear of death and the unknown. Astra will attempt to give humans the easy way out. You will live a meaningful life. All you have to do is bow down to my very rule and follow my plans for your life. You have no need to fear death because I've ensured you live a perfect life. Now we'll come back to this later with a quick look at the Fractal Library Q&A. Now, on the flip side, EVER wants them to be totally indebted to them. Look, we found a way for you to live forever. We've developed immortality. Now the whole world will worship our organisation and give us total control over everything. So not only do we have the unethical use of protocols for human advancement, but we also have two entities who want to control humanity and have them give up free will. Now, Simone, who is a hardcore prototist, even says she disagrees with EVER's methods. So let's just think about that for a second. When your own side is backing away from you, something is seriously wrong. I think this is why EVER needs to ensure that they have that successful press conference in Death and Rebirth. What better way to get the masses on side by showcasing their miracle on TV? Andrew also mentions that thanks to the Fountain of Atay project that EVER are conducting, purists have become more extreme in their methods of stopping them. So, let's break this down even further and let's look at EVER's, what I would call posthuman extremism, and I'll explain what I mean by that. So EVER sees evolution, which is natural biological human evolution, as a restraint. To them, humanity's current form is a cage, and they're going to break us out of it whether we want it or not. Their answer to humanity's biological limitations is the Fountain of Atay project. They're marketing it as the next step in human evolution, using these things called rebirth cocoons to supposedly treat protocol syndrome. Now, as a quick reminder, protocol syndrome is a unique disease caused by protocols. There are different types and they harm the human body in various ways. But we learn the truth in Death and Rebirth. They're purposefully turning people into wanderers, as they believe this is the next step in human evolution, because they're utterly insane. And the really messed up part about this entire thing is we can trace this back to when Zayne and Carter the Cowardly were in medical school together. Yes, FYI, I am now calling Carter the Cowardly because that's what he is. Anyway, they were researching protocol implantable devices trying to help people with heart conditions, but the experiments go wrong. The protocol energy completely corroded the hearts and their test subjects turned into wanderers. Zayne saw this as a complete failure and destroyed all of the research data. You can also argue he knew what this discovery could lead to and wanted to ensure that no one else got their hands on it. It's a smart move from Zayne. But Carter the Cowardly, he saw the same results and called it a success. This idiot literally watched a mouse turn into a wanderer that devoured other mice and thought, yes, This is the future for humanity. Guys, sorry for the side note, but I still can't get over what a loser this guy is. He really is a loser. Anyway, I'll rein it back in. You know, it's not an unusual story. Carter the Cowardly likely did start off with good intentions, but fear of his own death pushed him to the extreme end of the ideology. But that's not progress. That's something I would call posthuman extremism. They're not evolving humanity, they're replacing it. It's an extreme form of altering human biology to the point where what makes us human is gone. And as I said before, I believe a large part of what makes us human in stories like this is free will. And the worst thing about all of this is that they've positioned themselves as our saviors while they do it. We'll free you from death while turning people into something that's just a vessel. So that's how EVER's attempting to control history and push humanity beyond its biological limits. It's something humanity was never supposed to be able to do. But thanks to MC, our beloved anomaly, this has become possible. And there's another character in the background who is just a little more than pissed at this turn of events. Astra. Now for me, all of the evidence shows that Astra is trying to keep the structure and order of the cosmos stable. Not only does MC's existence destabilize this, she also threatens his very existence. Let's think about that for a second. Astra is trying to make sure people follow his set rules, his paths for them in life. And here comes MC, this chaotic anomaly, something that should not exist in his universe. To put it in simple terms, God is a woman and her name is MC. And this threatens Astra because she somehow managed to make 5 guys, possibly a 6th, fall in love with her and completely mess up all of his scripts and all of his stories. So, I'm going to put this in really simple terms. So let me use one example of this. Silas, for example, was never meant to be alive. This is just an example, guys. This is not the truth. I'm just putting down an example of one particular way this story could have gone for Silas. So let's say Silas was never meant to be alive. He was supposed to die at a certain point in time. Let's say his dragon form and his dragon life, that was meant to be the end of Silas as we knew it. However, MC's existence, Silas falling in love with her, and her falling in love with him, and then cursing his soul to never ever leave her, has made him immortal. This has messed up Astra's plan. And now, in turn, it's messed up Luke and Kieran's, because Luke and Kieran were never meant to meet Silas, but they have. And now they've formed Onychynus. Perhaps Onychynus was never meant to exist, but now it does. And now Onychynus is affecting all of these different people as well because of it. So do you guys start to see the knock-on effect that this has had? And why Astra is trying so hard to get Zayne to get rid of her? Now, let's talk about Zayne for a second. We know that Astra and Zayne are linked together. His story revolves around Astra, and a large part of it is EVER as well. Now, I'm going to mention this again, guys. This is just my interpretation, and I could be very wrong about Astra. And in fact, part of me hopes I am wrong, and I hope Astra is a lot more chaotic than we're giving him credit for. Now, I'm not sure why Zayne is so special to Astra, but Zayne is the one who he says has to get rid of MC. For me, it sounds like Zayne has a certain power that can lock MC away for good. It is only Zayne who can permanently rid her from the world. Because think about this for a second. In the Master of Fate story, we do see an old man who offers to kill MC for Zayne if Zayne can't do it. Now that to me suggests that Astra has other vessels who could get rid of MC, but it is Zayne who he wants in particular to do it. Now remember guys, MC can die and be reborn multiple times. This is what makes her special. So for Astra, he needs to find a permanent way to remove her from the universe. Now, I'm always in two minds about Astra's goal with Zayne. Is this simply him punishing Zayne in every single universe for defying him and saying you must be the one to kill MC in every timeline, the woman you love, because you defied me? Or is this more to do with the fact that Zayne has something that Astra needs? Because I keep coming back to this thought. Why does it have to be Zayne? Get another vessel to kill MC if that's the case. But it has to be Zayne. Zayne can stop, possibly, her rebirth from continually happening. Now I want to come back to this idea of free will, and I want to look at a particular part of the Fractal Library Q&A. This part, to me, seemed like it was speaking about an original version of Zayne. Now, I'll explain everything, but let me read it out for you guys first. It was set in a world obsessed with efficiency. People had no names, only numbers. Those in power genetically screened embryos and based on the results decided their entire lives. What education they'd get, what work they'd do, whom they'd love and marry, and even the traits of their children. Everything was determined by genetics, and the talents bestowed by the gods were fully realised. Nature and nurture, when perfectly fused, left no room for debate. No matter where you looked, it seemed like flawless harmony. At first, the world seemed dazzlingly beautiful, and everyone believed this was exactly how the world should be. But the balance was shattered when a wealthy individual engineered a child without flaws. This child could adapt to anything, yet he revered nothing. He soared above every rule and sneered at order itself. Cracks in the system appeared, and when there are cracks, rebellion follows. But we all know that rebels in any universe are branded as traitors, and they are forever condemned in history. Now, to me, this just screams an original form of Zayne who chose chaos and free will over divine will. And just to push that point further, this is what Zayne says in the official release trailer from last year.
Imperfect order doesn't need to be corrected. True redemption lies in utter destruction.
Now, that story from the Fractal Library Q&A reminds me so much of Zayne's Tomorrow's Catch-22 story. Now let's think about this original world that existed. Nobody could mess up. The world was beautiful and perfect because Astra was ensuring everyone was taking the path that Astra felt was the right path for them. Now, it wasn't until Zayne was created, this perfect child who was good at everything, and by the way, that tracks with how he is in the main story, this perfect child comes along and challenges that. Because funnily enough, being the perfect child also means he was aware that free choice should have also been a thing. People should have names. People should be able to decide what they want to do with their lives. Rule doesn't matter. Zayne is essentially saying, why are you trying to correct something that isn't actually a problem? Because it takes away free will, it takes away choice, it takes away the chaos that is so desperately needed in this world for it to have meaning. And I believe that if this is an original version of Zayne, he realised this because he fell in love with MC and realised that that was so beautiful and that that choice mattered and meant something and that everyone should have a chance to feel this and make these mistakes and feel heartbreak, feel love. These were not bad things to be and feel. It made them human. And this is something Astra cannot understand. Astra is just some god who has no conception of human emotions. And he didn't understand and wanted complete power and control, believing he knew what was best for everyone. So he made them nameless. I know what's best for you. You only need to be a number and you will have a perfect life. And to me, this almost screams like they were just playthings to a god, and Zayne saw this. And this might be the original version of Zayne who fell in love with MC and was punished for it. He is being punished in every universe that he exists in because of the original universe in which he fell in love with MC and defied Astra's rule for the very first time. Again, guys, this is just my interpretation, but I really feel like it's something along those lines of what's going on with Zayne and Astra. And just very quickly, in the Tower of Secrets myth, Astra literally criminalizes free will. No one is allowed to defy fate. Anyone who does is a sinner and will be punished. And remember, anytime Zayne thinks about leaving the tower, he is violently punished by Astra. But why? Why does Astra need this level of control? Because uncertainty threatens divine authority. If people can change their fates, if they can make real choices, he's not all-powerful. He's just a control freak with cosmic power. The entire system depends on everyone believing that fate is absolute and that Astra's will is inevitable. But Zayne challenges this, and Zayne will keep making choices against Astra's will. He will keep making the choice to love MC no matter what. And this proves that predetermined fate is a lie. If everything was really scripted, he wouldn't be able to rebel, even in small ways. He wouldn't be able to keep resisting taking up his role in the fractal library. He wouldn't be able to choose love. But he does, time and time again. So why does this ideological framework matter? Because it's not really about a fictional world. It's about the dangers of any extremism that strips away human agency in the name of salvation. EVER and Astra both promise to save humanity while destroying everything that makes us human. They demand we choose between becoming monsters or puppets, when the real answer is just to reject both options entirely. Zayne and MC represent hope because they prove that human nature persists despite both systems trying to crush it. And Zayne keeps choosing love time and time again because he can't help it. He is drawn to MC in any universe they're in, whether he knows her or not. He will always be drawn to her the same way that all of those other love interests will always be drawn to MC. Now you could argue that this is destiny and that this is fate, but it's beyond Astra's control at that point. And that's what makes the story so complex and interesting. Now, the narrative overall, in my opinion, is warning us that when any ideology, whether it's wrapped in scientific progress or divine authority, demands you surrender your humanity for salvation, it's not salvation at all. It's just another form of control. Going forward, the real question isn't whether protetists or purists should win. It's whether the characters can find a path that preserves human choice and human nature while navigating between these extremes. Because that's the only real victory, remaining human in a world that keeps trying to make you something else. So, what do you guys think EVER and Astra's goal is? Do you agree with me about this? Do you not? Do you have a different interpretation of the story? Do you think protetists and purists are different from how I explain them? I would love to know the lens at which you look at this through, because it's one of the most compelling aspects of the story to me. It's what keeps me really intrigued with the main story beyond the romance. So anyway, thank you very much guys for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you in the next one, and as always, stay frosty.